Hello, I'm
Hello.
Una Crawford and Bryan,
I'm Brian Murray.
and we're here to tell you a little bit about ourselves. First of all, we were supposed to be in the Linenhall twice. We've had to cancel. First of all, because last year Storm Lorenzo,
I think it was Lorenzo, yeah.
and this time because of COVID-19. So we're due to be there in September. So fingers crossed, third time lucky.
Third time, yeah.
So tell us about yourself. How did you
Myself.
start off?
Myself. Nothing very
All
much
those
to
years
say.
ago, how did you start off?
Yeah, good question. A long question. Well, for a working class lad like myself, it was a bit of a difficult expectation to be able to go from where I was to where I wanted to be. I wanted to be an actor really from quite early on. And then when television started in Ireland in 1963 for the first time, watching it actually inspired me even more, and looking at things like Tolka Row, which was the first Irish soap ever on television, as it was, and looking at it and standing up by it and just saying, I want to do that. And I had no idea how you go about it. But my mother, being a good working class Dublin woman, her brothers were all electricians, and she said, well, we can understand that you want to be an actor. We don't know how you do that, but you need to have something to go and fall back, to have that you can fall back on. So I went to serve my time as an electrician, and had I not done that, I wouldn't be sitting here, because it was being an apprentice electrician that got me, in a strange kind of a way, to be an actor, because one of the electricians living in Cabra told me that there was some kind of a program going on in the Mater Dei Community Centre up in Tala, which we would call an outreach program now, I suppose. And he said, I knew that you were interested in being an actor and all, so I just thought that you might be interested. It's happening next week. And so I got on the bus on the night, and the rain was lashing down, and my long hair, which I had because we were all trying to be the Beatles, and walked all the way up the road to the Mater Dei Community Centre. Went in there, a lot of young people the same age as myself, and a young director from the Abbey called Tommaso Morahu, and we auditioned for the play, and I got cast as the lead part in it, a character called Bartley Marnahan, in a play by Lady Gregory called Spreading the News. Long story short, we did it in the Peacock Theatre under the Abbey Theatre, and as the result of that, I got a scholarship to go into the Abbey School of Acting, which was fantastic because we wouldn't have been able to afford it. And I was there for 3 years, during which I did all kinds of plays with all kinds of big stars at the time, Cyril Cusack and Palla Lamb and all of the Harry Brogan and all the Abbey stalwarts, and learned so much. And then came across a gentleman called Cyril Cusack, one of the great Irish actors, who thought I was okay, and he went over to the National Theatre in London to do a job, and suggested me for a part, and I went over to the National Theatre in London and stayed in London for about 25 years, and then started to do a lot of television, and here I am, and I met Una Murphy O'Connor here beside me.
It's just as well he didn't become an electrician, because he can't change a light bulb, nearly.
Can't act either, no. You've an awful cheek.
I'm only telling the truth. I started totally different.
Because you're a girl.
Of course I did, but of course I am. But I always wanted to be an actress. But my mother, and I went to classes from the time I was 4, and I was always really interested. But my mother said, get a good pensionable job. So I did. I went into an insurance company the day after I finished my leaving cert. But even in my lunch times, I used to teach speech and drama. And on a Saturday, and I would do amateur plays and musicals, and which I just loved. And then I think it was in '96. I thought, this is ridiculous. You know, all my life I've wanted to be a professional actress. So I decided, maybe it was '95. I decided, right, I'll give it a year and see what happens. And then I was very lucky, and I got parts. And I ended up in Fair City in '98, and thankfully, touch wood, I'm still there today, and where I met him. So
That was the downside of it.
so yeah, so that's
What year
how we
did I
both
join?
started. You joined in 2005.
Okay, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. But we've done a couple of plays together, and this one that we were doing is a two-hander, and it's just a gorgeous play. We love it, Halcyon Days, and we were so looking forward to touring the country with it, because we did it last year and we toured parts of the country, and we also did it in the Viking Theatre in Clontarf. And then we were to do it again this year. We were to start about a month ago.
Yeah.
And it never happened because of COVID-19.
Yeah.
And then Fair City was cancelled. So we've lost 2 jobs because of it. And and it was such a shame after doing all the rehearsals, because one of the things we were talking about is our work practice. And when it was just the 2 of us, we had 2 intensive weeks of rehearsal, but that intensity would mean that we could be doing it out, going for our walks,
running lines as we go along, or even as I say, sometimes washing the dishes. Should we run the first scene? Yeah, let's do that.
Or something would make you kind of think of a line in the play, and we'd kind of continue on from that.
Yeah.
So
it's can we just say it's written by Deirdre Kinahan, a wonderful writer, and it's a very, very special play. And I know it sounds like something that you'd say because you're doing it, but I've done a lot of plays. We've both done a lot of plays, but this play has something really special about it. It's about 2 old dears in a nursing home, an old folks' home, and it makes the audience laugh and it makes them cry, which seems to be the ideal mixture, and people really get involved in it. And it's a glorious play to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant.
You don't say that very often.
No, and we really miss not doing it. But hopefully we'll get the opportunity.
We will eventually get there.
You mean get to the? You mean get to a nursing home or get to the Linenhall?
That won't be long now.
But so that's how COVID-19 has affected us, and because there's no work for actors, it doesn't matter.
It's hard enough being an actor in a time when there's no viruses out there and when there's no strikes on and when all of the rest of it. But actually, then when you do get a job, but then something like this happens and you're out of work, it's kind of, as an actor, you have to have a good strong back, don't you?
Yeah.
And not be afraid to be in a situation where you have no idea what's going to happen next.
And that's the advice you'd give to young people starting out, wouldn't
absolutely,
you?
Absolutely, 100%.
That, be prepared to be more out of work very often than in it. But if you really love it, you have to do it. You have to give it a chance.
But that's it. It's the desire has to be really there, because there's a lot of obstacles in your way to get there, and there's a lot of obstacles in your way when you're there to get the jobs. Because for every part that you go for an audition for, you'd be lucky if you get one part out of how many auditions? 4, 3 or 4?
3 or 4.
Yeah, 5.
9 or 10 maybe.
Yeah, well, so and you just have to get used to being told, I'm sorry, it's going, as they say, the euphemism they use for you didn't get the job is, we're sorry, it went another way.
Didn't quite suit you. And you're kind of going, or your hair was the wrong colour, and you're going, I could have dyed it. If you wanted black.
Or I'll shave it off, which I did a few times, yeah.
I dyed mine black.
Yeah. I shaved my head off.
That was the bill, wasn't it?
Was it? Yeah, the bill.
The bill.
Was the mad guy.
When you were doing the bill.
Make me look even madder.
So, we are really looking forward to coming to the Linenhall.
Yeah.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
And it would be, sorry, go ahead.
No, and I'm just saying, in the meanwhile, we're doing the garden, we're painting, Brian is cooking, he's cooking up a storm some of the time, going through recipe books. Everything is getting painted, basically the same colour, because we've only 1 tin of paint.
You sit long enough, you get painted.
In the garden. Yeah. And we have a dog called Bob. Who called him Bob?
I have no idea.
He did, after his character in Fair City. So we walk Bob, and that's what we're doing at the moment. We're keeping busy and trying to keep sane,
and we are really looking forward to going on tour with it, and we're looking forward to being in the Linenhall, and hopefully at the end of the show in Linenhall we may have a 20 minutes or half an hour of a question and answers for people to share about what they thought of the play and all the rest of it. So come along and don't be afraid to ask. We won't bite. Well, I don't bite, but
I'm the nice one.
but it'd be nice to see you there.
Yeah. So